Thank you, Ceann Comhairle. My name is Tasfia Hossain, and I have had the pleasure of being the National Executive of Carlow Comhairle since 2022. I am joined by Andrew Rosbotham, National Executive Rep for Louth Comhairle. We will be taking you through the journey of the extensive work done by the National Executive of 2022 to 2024. It has been a busy couple of years. First, I'd like to share a few words on behalf of the National Executive. I think it's safe to say we have all learned so much during our term. We've grown and met so many wonderful new people. Personally, I cannot describe in its entirety the impact that Comhairle and the National Executive has made in my life. Andrew and I will do our best to share the hard work and celebrate the achievements that we on the National Executive have made with all of you here today. Dáil 2022 saw 200 youth delegates come together in the Convention Centre. The recommendation that delegates voted to prioritise was a more inclusive relationships and sexuality education. When the National Executive began working on this, we realised it was a very broad topic. There are many barriers when it comes to delivering a comprehensive RSE curriculum, such as school ethos or religion, standardised implementation of the curriculum, teacher training, available resources, and funding. We prioritised 3 areas: the need for a human rights-based approach to RSE, teacher training, and implementation. This meant advocating that it is a student's fundamental right to learn RSE in schools and education centres, and that all young people deserve access to quality, comprehensive, fact-based, and inclusive RSE. Throughout our research, we have had the privilege of hearing from experts in the field, such as Saoirse Ní Gabhain from the World Health Organization, Dr. Kay Monsell from DCU, and Lisa Noon from the Department of Education. It was enlightening to be able to engage in such informative discussions with them. Their input and assistance was pivotal in developing our approach. We developed an RSE survey which was shared at Comhairle local youth conferences. The results of this survey conveyed the experience of young people across Ireland and has been a vital resource in developing our proposal. Subgroups of our members worked on reviewing the draft curriculums for junior cycle and senior cycle SPHE, for which we have prepared formal submissions to the NCCA. To cap off on our work on RSE, we have developed a proposal based on all of the work that we've done. Andrew will now tell you about this in more detail. Thank you.
Wise words and spot on time as well. Now we hear Andrew Rosbotham of the Louth Comhairle.
Good morning, everyone. Ceann Comhairle, delegates, and my fellow outgoing National Executive members. On behalf of Louth Comhairle and the Wee County, I would like to warmly welcome you all today to this prestigious event. As Tasfia explained, we as the National Executive have produced a proposal that we are putting forward to government. We are clear that action is needed, and we have outlined 5 specific changes that must be prioritised in order to achieve a more inclusive RSE. I will now summarise these for you. Our first recommendation is for the government to take measures to standardise the quality of RSE education by improving teacher training in RSE to make sure that it is up to date and that teachers have access to professional learning opportunities. At the end of the day, you can have the perfect curriculum. You can have the inspectorate working tirelessly to uphold that curriculum in schools. But if you don't have teachers who are properly supported to teach the subject, what's the point? Secondly, we call for the government to ensure the provision of quality RSE resources. Through the National Executive's research, we found that many teachers across Ireland are unaware of the toolkit which is currently available to them. Simple solutions, such as raising awareness for the current resources, can really enhance a teacher's ability to deliver a successful lesson. Thirdly, we call for the government to support ongoing review of RSE at school, local and national level. RSE, as you all know, is a forever-changing topic, so the content being taught has to be appropriate for the now, not for the previous 10 years. Our next recommendation is for the Government to ensure representation and active participation of young people on all decision-making bodies relevant to ORC. Lastly, we call for the Government to review the current constitutional and legislative rights of young people in relation to ORC, because ORC is just not another subject. It is an implemented and protected international right of every young person. Just last Thursday, the National Executive met with the Secretary-General of the Department of Education and her colleagues, and we presented our proposal to them. I am pleased to report that they recognise the work that we have done and give us high-level feedback on their work in this area. We are looking forward to receiving a written, detailed response from them. Earlier that day, we also met Kevin McCarthy, Secretary-General of the Department of Children, Equality, Disability, Integration and Youth. And we were really happy that he was so supportive and committed to following up on the proposal. Some key takeaways for us included that the Minister for Education and her department are really supportive of what we are trying to achieve. They are very committed to including the voice of children and young people in education and are developing ways to make that happen. They are improving teacher education and awareness of ORC resources, and will be starting a longitudinal study on how ORC is being implemented in schools. This is a significant outcome coming from the proposal we as the National Executive have produced. We thank both SecGens for taking some time to meet with us and also taking our recommendations on board. I have to say it was a fantastic way to finish our time in office. To conclude, on behalf of myself and Tasfia, I'd like to thank all members of the outgoing National Executive for their hard work, their commitment, their dedication and their time. It's been a privilege getting to know you all and working together. Thank you also to the staff from the National Participation Office and DCE DIY, who have been through thick and thin with us over the last 2 years. We simply could not have done it without them. And finally, I would like to thank the Carlow Comhairle and the Houses of the Oireachtas for facilitating this event today. Gur míle, míle maith agóibh.